How's everybody doing today? Happy Tuesday. I'm losing track of time, so you see it. So I took my, make sure I show up. I took my certification today. Make sure I come up and I pass. So pretty excited about that. So I just gonna just talk about it a little bit. Um, I passed a few AWS certifications. I thought I needed to get that certification since I'll probably be looking for employment here shortly. So I thought I would upgrade my resume and see what's going on. Um, so once again, I passed the AWS Certified Developer Associate. Wasn't too bad, but I've been programming for ever, about 20 years. So it's all good. Let's see. There I am. Check on my phone. So we'll get to rolling. Whoever falls in, falls in. If nobody falls in, that's cool too. Just check us on Restream Replay. Once again, we're just going to talk about this certifications and some other certifications. I just really decided to focus on AWS this year. So part of that was focusing on what's up, Anders? Glad you can join me. One of the big deals about me focusing on AWS was really getting some certs. A lot of times to get past HR and get past the the scanner or whatever they're using on resumes these days, you gotta have certs. So once again, I just passed today. I took it at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So like I said, it wasn't too bad. So let's just go over a few things about the search, and let's just look at all the search really. So I just brought a few of that up. So there it is. Let's make that a little smaller. So here's all the AWS certs. They have quite a few. Let me get my face out the way. No, that's cool. That's the SAP one. This is the last one on there. So let's get them all up there. I appreciate it, Anders. Like I said, I just decided to focus on that. Yeah, it was pretty good. I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get up to the professionals. I'm at the associate, so hopefully in about another couple months I'll take one of the professional ones. I'm trying to figure out which one of the professionals I'm going to take. I keep saying DevOps, so I might go DevOps then solution. So at the base is the foundation, 6 months of fundamental AWS industry knowledge. That one was pretty cool. It talked about all the services. I just always forget AWS got a ton of services, which is cool. They probably got 50 databases and all that. So it's cool to get this. I appreciate you, Helmet. So yeah, so first one is the foundation. Then an associate, kind of like a college. Get your associate. So they got the solution architect, the developer, and the sysop. Then in a professional one, you need 2 year associates. You need 1 year of experience solving problems. I appreciate that. On my screen, I gotta figure out what's going on my screen. It's going to sleep pretty quick. But 1 year is the associate solution architect, developer, sys ops administration. And the weird thing is, then a professional one says 2 years. They got the solution architect and the DevOps engineer. I think I want to go back more to the engineering side. So I think this probably be the next one I get in a couple months. Then the specialty one, I got the security for specialty. Of course, that's what I do, Professor Black Ops. We do cybersecurity in my channel. So I got the AWS Certified Security Specialty. So currently I have 4 AWS certs. All right. So in the last 4 months, I got 4 certs. So I got the Cloud Practitioner, Solution Architect, Developer Associate, and the Security Specialty. I've done databases all my life, so I'll probably get the database specialty and then probably Just lab every day. Shout out to Dewan. So get my lab on. So let's look at the certified developer one. So once again, I just my contract is ending this month. I probably get a couple of months on the bench, and my small company don't find me a job, they're gonna fire me. But it's all good, you know. I know the game, so I've actually been interviewing. Um, so I probably have some, maybe stay with my company. Just want to have some options on my side. So let's look at the certified developer. I programmed for about 15 years, so for me it wasn't too bad. So once again, AWS Certified Developer Associate. This credential helps organizations identify and help talent with critical skills for implementing cloud initiatives. Earning an AWS Certified Developer Associates validates the ability to write and deploy code-based applications. So who should take it? Anyone with 1 or more years of hands-on experience developing and maintaining AWS-based application. Before you take this exam, you need in-depth knowledge of a high-level programming. That's not true. What's up, Black Dub? Uh, Understanding of core AWS services, basic architecture best practices, including shared responsibility, application life cycle management, use of containers. Everybody's into the Docker and Kubernetes. Those are hot. So I'm kind of going to start focusing on Docker. Obviously, I'm a Java guy, so they usually lean towards Docker. Proficiency in developing and deploying and debugging cloud-based applications using AWS and writing code for serverless applications. So the real big deal is serverless, right? So it does have a server. AWS just manages it for you, right? So you don't have to manage it. So that's why they call it serverless. Ability to identify key features of AWS resources, APIs, CLIs, SDKs, the right applications. Ability to apply basic understanding of cloud native application to write code. Ability to alter, maintain, and debug modules in AWS, right? So that's basically it. So if you go back here, so the cool thing is when I took the cloud practitioner, right, they just started stacking on each other. So then when I took the associate architect, the cloud practitioner helped me probably with 50% of the stuff I needed to know for the solution architect. Then once I got the solution architect, the security piece, right, they start. So those two together probably gave me 50% of the security piece. And those three together probably gave me 60% of the developer associate, right? Um, so once again, I probably take the database specialty. In 3 months, I probably take DevOps. What's up, casual economist? Once again, you know, you're out there and you're trying to get past a lot of my shout out to Ty, you know, the gatekeepers. That's his favorite word, the gatekeepers. So I thought I need to go out and get the certifications, right? A lot of stuff I've been showing on my channel lately really has been me studying and getting ready for the certifications. Like I said, we're definitely going to start breaking down the AWS architecture, start labbing more, start doing real world apps, real world architectures, breaking it down from a cybersecurity perspective. If you check the replay out this weekend, uh, we were talking about the security of our architecture, right, for a code pipeline, the DevOps piece, how to lock it down, the services that were used, right? That was a lot of stuff that came out from the developer, right? You're going to do AWS code commit, AWS code build, code deploy, right? In your pipeline, right? Getting those fundamentals down, getting away AWS architecture, how they really want you to do it, right? Service now, yep, true. See what Hillman said. That is true. Heads up, service. Now she's right. She's right. I think she teaches some of those. No, shout out to her. Found free service now fundamentals on demand course. Become eligible for free certified. No, that's cool. Service now. Yeah, that's actually a hot product. I think they're actually spun up on AWS. I think I saw a job with ServiceNow on AWS and putting those two together, Helmet. So I think I've seen that a couple times. That is cool. A lot of people are actually giving out free vouchers and free courses. There's just so much out there for you to learn and for you to pick up, right? So let's go back. The cool thing, well, not cool thing is AWS. They do a lot of scenarios in their tests, so they give you scenarios of what's happening. See, if you see, I'm gonna bring up this real quick one. So they real, which I guess in the real world they help. So they all about the scenario. So I just went out the site. They give you a couple practice tests. So this kind of what the questions are like. Can can I drop the link here? Yeah, be my guest, Him. I always drop the link, man. Uh, let's see. Are you? Did I rent you up? Let me see if I got you rent. Yeah, I always drop. Yeah, you got free classes, Helmet. If you got anything good for the community, go ahead and drop it, man. You good? Definitely drop it. Let's see. I always something too much. Yeah, I try. Yeah, him and I try to focus on not get distracted. So I've been kind of AWS. That's what I've been focused on. That's what I'm trying to lab on. That's what I'm trying to get good on. So yeah, if y'all want to check out the service now, helmet drop the link in there. So this is how they're doing. And even when I took the associate architect was actually worse than this. So like here, let me make it a little bigger. So they're real big on I guess it's good. It's scenarios. Companies migrating a legacy application to Amazon EC2. The application uses a username and password stored source code to connect to MySQL database. The database will be migrated to Amazon RDS for MySQL DB instance. As part of the migration, the company wants to implement a secure way to store and automatically rotate the database credentials, right? So that's kind of, so those are scenarios. Let me take those out. So yeah, so those are the scenarios, which is good, and but it's a lot sometimes to memorize. The cool thing is I've done migrations for probably a decade when I worked at DoD, so wasn't too bad. I'm too so yeah, putting in the work. That's cool. Good luck. Good luck on the Azure. You gonna either do Amazon Azure. Azure is definitely great. A lot of the vendors I work with and customers I work with, they're actually on Azure. I'm actually gonna try to do combine those two. A lot of people are taking Azure Active Directory, which is AFDS, and using that to authenticate into AWS. So you take your on-prem, sync it up with Azure AFDS, then you use that AFDS to authenticate it into Amazon and just carry those tokens and credentials around for you, which is kind of different. So that's when a lot of people talking about a multi-cloud strategy. So that's probably the next level. So the big deal too is automation. So AWS's automation is cloud formation. So if you're doing Ansible, cloud formation, I'm trying to think what Azure's was. So that's the big deal too, is getting those getting automation down. Trying to transition to DevOps. So I appreciate that, man. I'm glad that's appreciated. Yes, so I'm really going hard with the DevSecOps and the DevOps. So we're gonna do another one this weekend. I'm doing part of DevOps. We talked a little bit about Beanstalk when you deploy into an environment. Test dev is Beanstalk. So we're going to talk about how to lock down Beanstalk from a HIPAA or FISMA level or DoD, but really talk about how do you lock down those environments. You got the code in the pipeline and you put them into production. Your production's got to be hardened, right? And one of the tools to do that in AWS is Beanstalk. So we're going to talk about how to lock that down. That's what they tell you in a developer, right? If you use a Lambda, an API gateway, and let's say you're using DynamoDB or MySQL in an environment, how do you lock that down to be secure? So yeah, Black Dev, I'm thinking about going into DevOps too. DevOps or SRE, site reliability engineer. So I'm thinking about one or two of those. So let's see. So let's go back real quick. So yeah, those are the kind of the tests. They always big in scenario. Developers design a web app that allows users to post comments and receive near-time feedback. So once again, they got a gazillion AWS services. So you just got to pick the right one. Then two is, like I said, I added that to it. So I got 4 AWS certs. So I think I'm gonna focus on labbing. Like I said, getting good. And these are the total that you can get once again from AWS. So for a certification matrix, make that a smaller. So Dub, there you go, man. That's the big one right there. The DevOps engineer for AWS, man. So that's the the big dog. You needed 2 years of experience. So that's professional. Like I'm over here. I got the 2 associate solution and developer, foundation and security. So I think I'm gonna get the database. Then I think I'm gonna start in 3 months, Dub. I think I'm gonna start studying for the DevOps professional. That associate one almost killed me. So the DevOps one might be, I need to let's look and see what that entails now. Black Dove got me interested. So let's see what's in the DevOps professional one. Let's see if I can make my screen. There we go. Browse certificates. So I think we probably can click on it. Let's see. This credential, DevOps engineering professional. This credential helps organization identify, develop talent with critical skills for implementing cloud initiatives. Earn your DevOps engineer. Validates the ability to automate and test and deploy infrastructure. Experience in the last 1 year of high level programming, understanding modern development and operational processes, ability to implement and manage continuous development systems and methodologies. We talked about that last week with the pipeline. So you can go check the replay. I need to put all those in a playlist. I need to get my DevSecOps playlist in there. Ability to implement and manage continuous delivery systems. Ability to implement and automate security controls, governance, process, and compliance. Define and deploy monitoring metrics and log systems. I feel like I did a lot in the social. So let's look at a couple questions for the DevSecOps. Yeah, we talked about this, like I said, last week in the video. Let's see, before we get in there. Let's see, this time, I may not want to. Not want to Lambo. Yeah, the BHP guy posted on Twitter. Get a Maserati. I'm old. I want a Maserati. It's like currently running through the Azure security stack. Once done, I'll decide AWS CISP is next. Yeah, I feel you. I think I'm probably take the CISP next. If I'm kind of studying for the database specialty. Then I was thinking about doing CISP and then studying for the DevOps cert. But like you said, MVM, that's a lot of studying. So I don't know. So let's look at this DevOps question real quick. Company controls the source code for its product in AWS code commit. The company is creating a CI/CD pipeline, continuous integration and continuous deployment pipeline for products using the AWS code pipeline. Must automatically start on changes to the master branch of the code commit. Changes are made to the application every day, so the pipeline needs to be responsive as possible. Okay, so let's see. Start the pipeline. Blah, blah, blah. So once again, it's scenario based. Cool thing is, if you go out there, they give you a couple simple questions. Once again, it's a cloud formation template, so you can automate everything right there. There's just so much stuff out here to try to to try to learn. Cool thing is they got work to see what that was be. So then they give you the questions. They're cool because then they tell you why the other 2 wasn't, appropriate. So it says this is most responsive B. Option is deterministic. The change would directly fire the event, and the event would directly trigger the pipeline, while the periodic checks describing they will not work. They're non-deterministic. So once again, you can download the questions. That's kind of what I use to study. Like so yeah, so I was just kind of thinking, what do I want to try to study for that? Once again, right now I'm trying to lab every day, make sure I'm comfortable, which I'm pretty much am in the console. Um, Make sure I can spin up an environment, spin up a EC2, spin up a database, lock them down with security groups and knuckles inside the VPC. Actually put Lambda into a private subnet. Put your databases in a private subnet. Keep them off the internet. Security groups, what can talk to what. So I gotta figure out what my monitor is. Okay, we didn't blank out. What's going on my side? Seeing what's up. How are the specialty certs like security compared to the solution architect? Um, I thought the solution architect from the security cert and the database specialty I'm studying for the specialty, they go more in detail into that particular subject, right? And I think I brought that up. If you look at the associate architect, I think it's medium both, meaning medium width and medium depth, where the specialty certs were narrow and focused just on security, but they went deep in security. They were talking about roles and keys and cognito, which is for web-based basics. So the uh, the associates are medium width, medium depth. The especially are narrow, but they go super deep into that area, especially. So that was kind of the difference from my point of view. Black Dub, like I said, I actually showed that on a video. Well, like I said, medium, then narrow and deep. So see MVM. If you build a 3-tier app in AWS or Azure, that should be more than enough experience to pass the exam. Yes and no. MVM. What happens is, and I built three-tier architectures in a lot of different ways. Is there's so many different ways to do MVM inside AWS. Like, are you going to use an application load balancer? Are you going to use a network load balancer? Are you going to use a classic load balancer? So they can come up with different scenarios, even though it's 3-tier. Are you doing a 3-tier with EC2, which is a Linux box? Are you doing 3-tier with Kubernetes or Docker? Because student, how you spin them up, right? There's a Docker task definition, and that's where you put your security at on an ECS. EC2 is an IAM instance profile. Lambda, you can actually put IAM role on Lambda and give it access to a S3 bucket. All of those are 3-tier architectures, but depending on how you build it and what services you're using in your 3-tier architecture, the security can be a little different in VM, and they be hitting on all of them. Right? Okay, you got a Docker, you got a Kubernetes, you run an EC2, you run in Lambda. Then they got deployment. Or do you want to deploy everything all at once? Do you want to deploy 10%, let them test it, roll over to 90%, right? Which is canary. Or you want to do random, or you want to do all at one MVM. So there's a ton of ways to do it. So which is cool. But if you can do it 3-tier, that's gonna get you probably 40% away. But then, like I said, they got nuances of what services are running in there and how you gonna configure them on-prem multi-share program. Mine too. I worked at DoD. I was a web admin and application admin. I actually used to do Java programs and was putting them on 3-tier. Like you said, that helped out a ton. So you probably like me. I understood everything. I just had to get it in the language of AWS, right? What I called it on-prem was a little different than what they called it. But I knew what TTL was. I knew what time to live was. So a lot of that stuff. I knew what X forward it was to get your IP address and headers. So I had a lot of background in there. So that helped me out a ton. Sometimes a deep dive, but I don't know. Yeah, I haven't figured out the nuance. I'm just focused on AWS. I haven't done both of those, but yeah. So I think we're on the same page. Like I said, I don't know if you're new here. I've been in IT for 30 plus years. I've been in security for 15. I've probably done a little bit of everything. So, and actually, I was doing security compliance in AWS for about 5 years. So I was familiar with that because I review all our vendors for security. So I was quite familiar with a lot of the AWS services. So, and I was spinning them up off and on. So I just decided I got 10 more years left. I'm 53. I'm trying to get to my 60. So if I get the cloud, that'll give me my last 10 years before I slide in retirement in VM. So I was like, let me get serious about this. So that's one reason, like I said, I started live, and I'm gonna do a couple more playlists. I'm gonna do one for DevSecOps, and I'm gonna do one for my computer. So I'm gonna learn a general job at DoD. You don't need a security clearance. If you meet the qualifications, when I first got into DoD 20 years ago, I started in a small firm, and they actually paid for my security clearance. I just had to tell them I would work for them for 2 years in VM, which in the span of life, 2 years with nothing. By the time I got in there good and got my security clearance, it took them like 8 months to give me my security clearance. So by the time I got my 8 months, I only had like a year and 2 months to work with them. So if you go to I'm trying to think of there's a site out there for government work, DoD. A lot of times I would actually just start off with a local vendor that has DoD contracts. Um, like I said, my current contract's up. I've been a consultant for 23 years. So I actually might go back to DoD. So yeah, um like I said, I'm interviewing with Deloitte. So if I get on with Deloitte, they probably have met the government contract, and I'm pretty sure if I work for Deloitte, they're gonna pay for my security clearance, but they're not cheap. They're like 15,000, 20,000 to get one, depending on how you want. I had a NAC and a I'm sorry, SBI, which I think is secret. Then my buddy I work with, I'm interviewing him on my team. He had a top secret. Then another guy I knew was ex Navy SEAL. He actually had top secret with a polygraph, right? Where they actually put the bands on you with the little, with the little thing. He said it was nerve wracking. So yeah, so yeah, I was at DoD for 11 years. So then my contract ended up. Then I was at a large state client. I've been out there for 10. Oh yeah, facts. They some will sponsor you. They want the contract, and for them to get the contract, they sponsor you. Like I said, I'm interviewing with Deloitte, so I'm getting my third with them. So we'll see how that goes. I hope to stay with my current small consulting firm, but I don't know. Contract me, no contract, no me. Yeah, man. So yeah, I used to work in it's called DeFi. It's just a financial part of DoD, and we used to actually pay retirees. So you close to a money, and I should see a lot of money in bank files. So yeah, and a lot of times too, the cool thing is a lot of people don't realize is ex-military guys, especially if you're Navy SEAL, you already got that security clearance anyway. So when you work at DoD, half the people you work with is probably gonna be ex-military. Well, for me, and I'm in the Midwest. I'm in Indiana. It wasn't like I was in the DMV. So yeah, if you look there, there used to be 12 financial centers, but I think they called BRAC. They closed a couple of them. Yeah, that polygraph. My buddy he said it was nerve wracking, man. He said he said his thing. You know, when you see it on TV, the lines. He said one of his lines was going up so high, he thought he flunked. The guy could just tell he was nervous, but I think that would make me nervous too. But yeah, they got different levels. You got top secret with polygraph. So yeah, like I said, I probably have a couple of my DoD buddies on there. So let's see what we're gonna talk about. Let's go back. Yeah, I was listening to my man Black Heights. Go check him out. And one thing he was just talking about on his channel is being serious and attentional. You know, with your about your job and your career. So for me, um, getting certifications help you in that area, right? Number one is it gives you a level of comfort with the vendor. Now, I've seen a lot of people with certs, and couple I mean, I didn't think were very good. So I'm not saying the certs are the end all be all, but they do give you a little validity, especially with HR. And a lot of times you can't get in the door without certs, right? They give you a certain level of validation in there, right? A lot of people give me kudos and pray because I work for DoD. You know, DoD is almost like a cert when you tell people you work for DoD, or if you tell people you work for one of the big firms, Arthur Anderson. I don't even know if they exist if I'm messing their name up. Deloitte, Booz Allen. I know those are the big two. You know, uh, CGI is a big one. If you work for one of the big vendors, small companies or middle-sized companies thinks you bring out that methodologies that you learn from the certs and working with big companies to that job, right? So a lot of people, and like I said, I was looking on Indeed and Dice, and a lot of people are actually asking for search now, right? So that's kind of, which we all know that's kind of a sign off to say you understand your craft or you have some understanding of this, in depth. So so anybody got any other special questions? I'm just rambling. I'm a ramble a little more. Let me know. I'll drop the link if you're bored and want to come up. So, but yeah, so DOD, any of those government agencies. If you look at my playlist, I got compliance. When you go to DOD, it's something called FISMA or STIGs or DOD checks for compliance. Because when you go there from a security standpoint, you got to get an ATO on a system, which is authority to operate. Basically, meaning you have to do security checks and a lot of paperwork, poems, which is a plan of action and milestones, which basically a schedule when you're going to get it fixed. So if you look at my playlist, that's why I did compliance. When you do government, you always complying to a larger agency. Long story short, I work at a large state agency. We report to the IRS, right? So that's compliance. It's called NIS 800-53, which is what most federal compliance adhere to. Then part of that is implementation details with STIG, CIS, is what checks are you actually putting on those computer systems, right? So if you're trying to get that federal work, I would get on those federal compliance standards so they can kind of go together. How difficult would it be to land a job with NATO? I have no idea, MVM. I think it would be pretty hard. Because NATO's right, North America. So you got a lot of nations that got to come together. So you got to be at a specific level. And I'm sure usually, who did I used to work for? You said those type of countries. Lockheed Martin. Those guys make missiles. So I'm thinking, you would have to get one of those with one of those big boy companies like that, MVM, to work for NATO. I'm just thinking getting in the federal. You talk about NATO. So I would think one of the big guys, Lockheed Martin, Booz, one of those guys, I'm sure have NATO contracts. Having a clear roadmap to a goal. Oh yeah, facts. Let me put that up there. Yeah, and that's kind of what. Yeah, having a clear roadmap to a goal is a key. Yeah, because you don't want to get. It's easy to get distracted in technologies. There's so many different paths and so many different things to get in. So what I did is I had a certain skill set. Yep, Raytheon to be in there. Definitely Raytheon. Those big plane missile guys. No, helmet, you're right. So what I did is what I kind of good at and what I've done in the past. I just added AWS to those things. So I've been a developer. I've been a web admin, a DBA. So I got the developer. I architected apps. So I was like, let me get the associate architect. So that's of course, I do security. So I got the security specialty. My first love really is database. So I probably get the database specialty. Like I said, then in the 6 months after I lab, I'm going to get with ladies in Linux. They're real big on automation, so I'm definitely gonna go over there and do some collabs with her. I think they're Ansible, so I'm gonna take her Ansible, get with my cloud formation, and just build architectures to make sure we can automate them because everybody's in automation. And if you do it by hand, you can mess up. So you want to definitely get comfortable with automation scripts, right? That's really one of the huge benefits of being in the cloud and different architectures. So let's see. I am going to. So yeah, that new one of the like you said, big guys in there. We talked a little bit about this last week, but I'm gonna slide this in here real quick. And we're gonna end it. Do, 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 do. Let's see what's else up there. Use any Python in your position? No, I work with some old guys. We should be using Python. I actually, instead of Python, I use Corn Shell. I've been doing that for 15 years. So we need to take out our Corn Shell and actually use Python, to be honest, Black Dove. We need to do a little modernization where I'm at. So we're switching out the Corn Shell scripts, and we're probably going to switch those over to Python. We know we're actually going to switch or PowerShell for those Windows. So if we're on Linux, we probably use Python. If we're on Windows, we probably use PowerShell for some of our automation. We need to get in the new millennium with those things. So real quick, we went over this Sunday was the code pipeline. Pushing it up to code pipeline, checking in your code, building it, deploying it in the Beanstalk, right, which is just production, QA integration, just the environment where you're going to build it at, right? So, trying to automate all that. Get as part of that DevSecOps is scanning that for code, using the X-ray, looking for the OWASP top 10. Looking for STIGs or CIS checks, depending on which one of those you're using, right? Then the other part of that is you're building your environment, right? So here, the AZ1, these are two different data centers in the same region for failover. So if the AZ1 data center goes down, right, the load balancer is going to funnel everything over to two. We got our public, private, and private subnets. Controlling traffic at the top is your S3 bucket where you put your files. CloudWatch, you got your cloud metrics, your database, RDS down there, probably Postgres or MySQL. EC2, usually I'm a Java guy, so we're going to spin up Tomcat, put them in there, load balance is going to balance. HTTPS, everything encrypted in transit at rest, right? So from a security perspective, making sure that is locked down. So we're going to go through that times 10 with the Beanstalk and what this will look like from an actual cybersecurity perspective and a DevSecOps, because the pipeline is going to build this, right? And one thing too, hopefully in a month, is we're going to build this out automatically with CloudFormation templates, similar to Ansible, where you hit a button and it'll build all this off of YAML templates for you, right? So if you need to build it in different regions, you just run your YAML templates and it'll already build, right? So that's what we're going to show. This week, we're just going to show how to lock it down from Elastic Beanstalk, even if it was Dev QA, and how to automatically build that and make it faster and lock it down. So, but just like I said, just want to come to you. And that's part of the things we talk about. And you talk about the developer cert. How do you build that out from a developer prospect? And we also talked about the associate architect, right? The associate architect would draw this out, making sure we're in compliance, showing the vision of that, right? From a production environment, right? They really focus on production and what's the end part, right? The developer part is what we looked at up here. Oh, let me go over here. This is what the developer search talking about: how we build it, how do we check it in, how do we make sure we can deploy it, at what speed we can deploy it in, and what technologies we're using, Lambda, right? And get that all in there. The architect's going to talk about a high level. We're using this. This is what's going to look like. This is where production, right? The DevOps guy is going to do this, right? The DevSecOps guy is going to make sure it's secure, right? And then part of that is to the site reliability engineer is going to make sure if any of this fails, we can keep running, right? So those are different position jobs and where your search fire. And I was talking about the database specialty, right? That's going to be down here. The RDS, right? How do we lock down a database? How do we control it? How do we make sure it's encrypted at rest, encrypted at transit? How do we make sure we can automatically fail over from primary to the secondary? How do we make sure we can have high availability to a whole different region on the other side of the United States for speed, right? So that's where those different certs come in and how you learn those different skills and move those forward. I appreciate that, MVM. So come check me out. I usually do a class Sunday at 3. Um, so we talk about different things, and I always my team will tell you, Helmet, they've been my day ones will tell you. You drop security questions, we'll pivot and come back. So I try to come live twice a week. I usually do a couple of cybersecurity news, and I try to do a class Sunday at 3. I've been doing this for a year and a half, so I think I only missed 2 Sundays. So I try to be very consistent in VM. I'm glad you appreciate it. I appreciate that. So I think that's it. Like I said, I just wanted to say, let's get those certs. Like I said, I got 4. Like I said, but I've been in the game for a long time. My job is to pass some of that knowledge on to you. This is a cybersecurity channel. We're focusing on DevSecOps probably for the next couple of months, right? Drilling down and that, creating these environments, talking about these environments. And 2, hopefully no, I'm not hopefully. July 1, I'm actually start doing labs and we can build and actually go through the lab and watch it build. Some of it's going to be manual. Some of it I'm going to get the cloud formation so we can hit a button and watch it build watch cloud formation build this, right? We're going to build this manually. Then we're going to let cloud formation build it, right? So we can talk about automation and how that rolls over from an architect, from a developer, from a sysop, right? Because the other cert was sysop. So what sysops is actually talking about from an EC2, we run a Linux and Windows, right? So in the system, when you got 400 Linux boxes or Windows boxes, and you need to do a upgrade on a web server, how do you do that with automation? Right? How do you control all that? How you look in your CloudWatch logs to figure out how all those VMs are working, right? The cool thing is with automation, I remember doing that by hand in 2015, trying to figure out what VMs were causing you problems. You had to just go look. Somebody said, "Well, this VM is slow." So you have to go in a load balancer, figure out which IP it went to for that person, and try to just go run some metrics on that server. Now all that stuff is done for you with automation, right? It makes it easier. A lot of times, if that VM is bad, we'll talk about that. Is ASG's auto scaling group would actually kill that VM because the health checks were bad. Either the memory might have been hung, or maybe it was on a hot spot on a disk and it just couldn't come back at the proper speed we had. Because in the SG, you tell it what speed your ping back, how much memory you should be at. If the memory's hung, you can kind of tell inside that is too. And it just kill it and spin up another one, which is cool. So you don't have to really debug it unless you want to. That's all I want. PBO got to go in the office tomorrow. He not happy. Talking to the third person. I got to get in the shower in the morning and drive to work. I don't want to drive to work. No, it's all good. So that's all I have for today. Professor Black Ops at gmail.com. One word. Y'all can always shoot me email. I'm an ex-professor. I just stopped teaching last year. I don't let so I get 48 hours to answer email. That's what professors got at my little community college. I do not have a PhD. I have a master's degree. So I still get my 48. You guys performance thresholds? Oh, yes, most definitely. If you look in AWS, you can do it on CPU. You could do 50% or 80%. So yeah, you could do it on users. If you got 1,000 users per box. So yeah, MVM, you can do it on different metrics. You can actually do custom metrics. I did a lab, and I might do this. I was doing land with queues, so you can say if your queues get so full, start spinning up VMs because my queues backed up. I got 1,000 things waiting, so I need you to spin up 100 EC2 instances that I got Tomcat running on. After it gets down to 500, I only need 2 instances, right? So yeah, NVM, you can set those thresholds up a number of ways in target group or auto scaling group. Like I said, most time I think the default is 80% CPU. If it goes over 80% CPU, it'll automatically spin up another EC2 instance. Once it goes below 50%, it'll stop traffic to that EC2. Then once all the connections are drained, it'll actually tear down that EC2. Cool thing because you don't want to get charged for infrastructure you're not using. So I think it was 80 up and under 40 down. But yeah, they got those thresholds in there. Cool. I'm gonna drop the link. So go to the Microsoft Training Day. Let's see, Training Day. After you can take the AS900, that's cool. Virtual training show. Yeah, one day if I get a little better with AWS help, I might look at Azure. Even though I do a little work in Azure at the client I'm at. Actually, I usually give it to another guy that's on our team. But yeah, we do. We got some services in Azure, and we got 2 or 3 vendors. We're using Azure, so I actually look at Azure from a cybersecurity perspective. They're like AWS. They've been in the game a long time, and they want government money, so they're pretty tight with security on Azure too. So they're not slacking. Uh-oh. I already have the AS900 and the SC500. I don't know what the SC500 is. What's the MVM? What's the SC500? I don't know what that. I gotta get my Azure game up a little bit. What's the SC500? I just been doing Azure. I just been doing AWS. So yeah, I took the CISP. Oh my God, 17 years ago, I didn't pass. I got the Security Plus. I just missed it by 6 questions. I should have went back and took it. One of the regrets. But when you take CISP, you don't pass. Okay. You don't get reimbursed until you pass. So back then, CISP I think was $650. I flushed. So I didn't want to fuss another $650. So I got my Security Plus. So well, I think I'm out, fellas. I'm out. Professor Black Ops. Please subscribe. We're usually gonna do a Sunday class at 3. That's what we usually do. I think I accidentally pinned something. So I accidentally pinned Himmel's class. So yeah, so we'll do that. Like I said, we're gonna go over this for Elastic Beanstalk. Their default architecture. They put all their EC2 instances in the public subnet, which they shouldn't be. The database is not encrypted in transit or rest. I don't think the S3 bucket is encrypted at rest either. I don't think the ALB is encrypted right out the box. So we'll talk about what Elastic Beanstalk does out of the box. And for us to lock it down, shout out to my man for DOD work or government federal work. What security services and things should we add to it to make sure it's secure at that level so we can check the box for HIPAA work, FISMA work, DOD work, CIS benchmark. So we're just going to kind of walk through that. So those are the slides I'm working on for Sunday. So that's what we're going to do. Then after that, I think shout out to MVM. We were talking about that. I'll probably do another zero trust with this architecture coming out of Elastic Beanstalk. What couple things that we need to add to it for zero trust for government work, right? Your PC needs to be from an agency. There needs to be virus protection on it. we need to have some on there. And I think I'm gonna look at Cisco Duo's pretty cool for smaller companies. It's pretty cheap, and it actually gives you a health rating on your PC. So when you connect that rating to your network, we can use that rating to figure out what back office services you can get to, and we can make sure all the software is updated on that, right? So then we'll do MFA. So we got you checked and we got the PC checked. All that's part of zero trust, and we'll delve into it. That'll be after the Beanstalk. So, like I said, we add that into the game. So once again, Professor Black Ops, I got to be up in like 7 hours, 6 hours to go to work. So I'm out of here. Once again, have a great week. And if you need me, Professor Black Ops, all one word at gmail.com. You can always go to my YouTube page, go to my about my emails on there. Okay, let's see what my man. Yeah. I appreciate you. Everybody have a great night.